Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here. And we already talked about the original RoboCop and how much we loved it.
Yes.
Now it's time to talk about all the other RoboCop movies, the theatrical ones. We're not doing the made-for-TV ones. We will revisit those another day. But yes, what is the worst RoboCop movie? Let's find out today on Hack the Movies.
Yes.
Tom, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back. And as I promised, like I said in the intro, I decided not to include the Prime Directive movies.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I hear they're not too bad, I just didn't want to put that much on your plate.
And I appreciate that. The Alien Predator, that was
That was a lot to
watching
get through.
all of them this was much easier and a more pleasant experience as well.
Yes, RoboCop. So if you're new here, if you stumbled on this video, we did review the original RoboCop. Go back and check out that episode. That was a fun episode.
It was.
And after that episode, I quickly put out a video called RoboCop Rogue City. Is it just like the movie? Where I went through the story of the game and talked about like the visuals and stuff, see if it matched the films. And you're going to have to go watch that video to find out.
I'll have to. Honestly, I want to know your opinion on Weller coming back.
I was happy in Mortal Kombat 11. I was even happier here.
I bet.
Yeah, so it's time to do the sequels. Now,
Yes.
You would think, like, why am I bunching all these together? Well, one, it worked out really well for Terminator. But two, I just, as much as I love the first RoboCop, I can't talk all day long about the sequels as much as some other people do. I'm going to rant a little bit about one of them.
Which one? I wonder.
The one that we don't have a physical copy of.
Weird. That's so strange. It's foreshadowing or something.
Yeah, I guess we'll get into it.
Okay.
I guess we'll start with the first sequel, RoboCop 2. Now, before we get into the story, I have some fun background information here.
Okay.
So they wanted the original writers to come back,
Yes.
and they made them write a script. They had to do it within a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And they wrote a script about it was going to be 25 years after the first one.
Okay.
There were going to be big corporation wars, and someone was going to activate RoboCop, and he was going to be thrust in the middle of this chaotic war.
Wow.
Then
sounds like Demolition Man or something.
kind of like
bit.
Demolition Man. Then the 1988 writer's strike happened, so they weren't able to write for a bit. When they came back, the studio deemed their script just not filmable. Also, I think there was like a breach of contract. They were working on another movie that ended up not getting made. I think there was some conflict there. So anyway, they fired the original guys.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Got rid of them.
Yeah, perfect.
But in the one guy's contract, he was able to like suggest another writer.
Mm-hmm.
And he suggested Frank Miller, the comic writer, who did a lot of like cool stuff in the 80s with Batman. Batman Year One, The Dark Knight Returns, probably is like his most famous. Went on to do some really good comics and some really bad comics, hit or miss. But yeah, so he wanted to break into film. So he wrote a draft, and they deemed it unfilmable. Years later, it was adapted into a comic book. I haven't read it. I've been meaning to read Frank Miller's RoboCop 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's kind of crazy.
It shares some similarities to the previous script.
Okay.
So then they got Walton Green to come in, who wrote like the Wild Bunch or whatnot. He rewrote Frank Miller's script.
Okay.
They couldn't get a director for a while, and they ended up getting Irvin Kershner. Do you know what he directed?
I think he did something really like I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, are there any other sequels he's known for?
Multi-billion-dollar franchise.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
They got the director of The Empire Strikes Back. I guess he had experience helming the sequel, and yeah.
Yeah, he had some experience, I'd say.
So the producer...
greatest films of all time.
Yeah, he just happened to make one of the best things ever.
Yeah, no big deal.
So the one producer told him he wasn't allowed, because they kind of rushed this into production. He wasn't allowed to like touch the script, but then he ended up working with Frank Miller while the movie was there to like fix up the dialogue and whatnot. So Frank Miller still kind of was involved.
Yeah.
And then Orion Pictures, they were kind of hands off. Oh, sorry. I bumped into my Milton, played by Stephen Root, bobblehead. We'll talk about Stephen Root in the next film.
Yes.
He's a main character.
Yes, we'll talk about Stephen Root.
Yeah, so Orion Pictures, they were kind of hands off with that last one.
Yeah.
And remember, if you want to know more about the making of the first one, you should watch the RoboDoc documentary, which I believe is now on Tubi for free.
RoboDoc, the documentary?
Yes, made by some wonderful filmmakers who I interviewed on this show.
What?
You should watch that episode too.
You should. You really should.
They were more hands-on with this. They rushed it in production. They wanted to get this baby out. That's the behind the scenes. Can you read me the plot to RoboCop 2 on the back of that Orion VHS?
RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
The sizzling sequel to the 1987 sci-fi blockbuster brings back the future of law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
To face his greatest challenge ever, Peter Weller returns as the half-man, half-machine police officer, this time to rid the lawless streets of Detroit of the deadly new designer drug, Nuke.
Ugh. Damn, Nuke. Gotta get off the streets.
Makes me so mad. Anyway, unknown to RoboCop, the evil corporate empire which created him wants to take down the city private and develop RoboCop 2. A newer, bigger, and more powerful version to replace the original.
Yes, RoboCop 2. I like it. It's fine and fun, as I say on this show.
Fine and fun.
What it gets right, it gets really right. And for me, that's the humor.
Okay.
They nailed the humor. Because there's like wacky things happening in this super ultra violent, gritty world.
Yes.
The commercials are great.
They are.
It took 2 days to download specs from Cleveland. Lost the account.
I love the well, God damn it,
the Volt.
the Volt something, the electrocution thing, and I love
that was
the
amazing
SPF 3000.
Yeah, it's just like blue and yeah.
You know who that actress is?
No, I do not.
The girl who played a lot of vagina in Austin Powers. She's the model in that scene.
That's kind of hilarious.
So they get the humor right. They get that. The commercials are good.
The violence is nice.
The violence is nice. I'm glad it was still
coming
violent.
from RoboCop 1,
yes.
you know, okay. The violence is still there.
Yeah, still had to be a little violent. It doesn't work 100% for me.
No?
No. How do you feel about RoboCop and this Peter Weller? Because for me, I think we might have talked about this before. At the end of the first movie, it feels like he got his humanity back.
Yeah.
But in this one, he's acting like he's still
he like smiles, like he has like the closing dialogue. It's but perfect. In this one,
it's
he's a nice
like,
little bow on it.
He's reverted back to like robot mode.
Yeah, he's a little dumbed down.
Isn't this a school day?
Yeah, that felt weird to me. I'm like, why wouldn't he have more like human?
Maybe they so that he could grow again.
I guess, but I was interested to see where he was going to go.
Yeah, no.
From there.
Why would that just makes sense, Tony? Come on.
I think they just wanted to make him like a robot to remind you of the first movie.
I think they did.
So they could sell more stuff. But I'm just like, it just doesn't work for me, like story-wise. I'm like, he should be a little bit more human here.
Yeah.
What was the whole point of finding his humanity in the last film? It's almost as if we didn't really need a RoboCop sequel and they said all they needed to say in the first one.
Maybe. Nah. No. I think this couldn't be powered by any toy lines or anything of that nature.
Well,
this is completely organic second movie.
They did have toys, but the next one is where they really push the toys. Speaking of toy stuff, what do you think of his blue makeover? Because he was gray in the first one. They made him very blue in this one.
So they actually did that for camera reasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I don't know the full extent of it, but essentially like they were getting like some grain or certain types of reflection and discoloration on the film because of just the color that was bouncing back. I could be slightly incorrect, but along those lines,
that sounds like a
technical camera jargon that was essentially why they chose to change that as well, because the suit in the second one looks so good compared to the first one.
Yeah, it does look shinier.
It fools me a lot better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean with the practical, because compared to the third one with the gloves, like it's
Well,
the second one to me is looks really nice.
I have a fun fact about the suit in the third one. But yeah, for me, the characterization is off on RoboCop a little bit. It gets fun when they plug all the protocols in him.
Yeah.
Where they there's like, oh, he's always so violent, he's using his gun, he should be doing this and this. So they put like a million protocols.
Mm-hmm.
I love when like a dude dies and he's reading him his rights.
Yeah.
It's like, Murphy, you're reading rights to a corpse.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm having trouble. And then like I think he like beats up a guy.
Like this motion right there just like took me completely like humans don't do that.
I'm sorry.
I understand he's Robot Man, but like that motion it stuck with me for a little too long.
I love when he's like arresting the baseball kid gang in the store. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up, he like tries, he's like, okay, and now discussion about nutrition. And then they just leave. I love that. Uh-huh. That should have been the whole movie. Him just like, because he already found his humanity, and then they plug all this shit, and now it's him having to fight against all these protocols to get his job done. But that's such a small part of the movie. Yeah.
Well, there's other parts, but none of them like make sense together.
Yeah. Okay. So that's like
the female, what's her the robot chick, the chick that likes
the Dr. Juliet Fax,
the doctor lady character.
Yes.
Now she made no fucking sense. Like her motivation.
Well, she's trying to make a new RoboCop and impress the company to get a promotion and money. She's also sleeping with the old man.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm just like, I know greed. It's the satire of RoboCop in general. But,
why she decided to pick who she picked for RoboCop 2 is anyone's guess. Yeah. It seems like a really bad idea.
Yeah.
I get her reasoning for it, but speaking of things that don't go anywhere, the beginning, RoboCop is like following his family.
Yes.
And his wife is oh God, Stephen Root!
What have you done?
Let me move.
Madness.
Okay.
Madness.
You weren't that bad in RoboCop 3, I promise. So he's following his wife in the beginning.
Yeah.
And like, I don't watch this one too much. I've watched it more in recent years, but like growing up, whenever I would like turn this on, I would always be like, oh, right. Is there like a whole story with his wife? I forget. No, that's it. He follows her. She gets creeped out, and then she's at the station.
Yeah.
And then he's
just like, oh, your husband's dead.
Yeah. But then I'm like, okay, is he going to like do something to prove that he's still there to her? And maybe she'll accept him. No, she's just gone.
No, she's gone. She gave up. I mean, come on. How many years of marriage? Obviously, you're just going to give up. Just like,
it's just a very like weird.
They only have one kid tying them together.
I know. Like, why
if they had more kids?
Why even introduce?
I imagine you'd try.
Why even introduce the subplot if you're not even gonna like go through with it? Like, it makes no sense to even have it there. So that was a bummer.
They wanted to try to humanize him, but it didn't make sense and they didn't follow through. Just another dead end.
Yeah, it's another dead end. This movie feels like a bunch of dead ends. Now, there are some story things I like. I like the whole running for mayor. What's his face? Marvin Kuzak is running for mayor to save old Detroit because they're still trying to build Delta City.
Yeah.
And he's trying everything in his power to stop Delta City from being made. But he gets in league with Hobb, a young boy who's like a crime lord.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
He's like second or third in command to the main crime lord who's selling all the nuke.
Yeah.
Kane, played by Tom Noonan, who I've talked about in many films, like Monster Squad.
Okay.
I reviewed Monster Squad. He's the Frankenstein monster in that. And me and Johanna reviewed all the adaptations of Red Dragon. And in the original one, Manhunter, the one made before Silence of the Lambs, Tom Noonan was the Tooth Fairy, the Red Dragon killer in that one.
Oh, really? Okay.
I met him at a convention a few years back. We took a picture together.
Oh, nice. Was he a cool guy?
He was very quiet.
Yeah,
quiet. Seemed a little shy. Very quiet.
That's fine.
Great actor. Great actor. I love him. And apparently it was his idea to have Kane be like a former hippie. Because he was a hippie. He thought it'd be like a fun thing.
I mean, some of the inspirations on set could happen that way, which is weird.
So here's another letdown. Like, he's a really good bad guy.
Yeah.
He's like very violent. Like he makes them like cut open that cop and he makes the kid watch. All of that is awesome. And then they kill him off and bring him back as RoboCop 2. And we've completely lost the performance because he's either really obvious stop motion or a CGI face going blah, 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 or a practical effect brain with eyes. Like we lose Tom Noonan. It's like, all right, I know I'm supposed to pretend like that's Tom Noonan, but I have a major disconnect. Like I'm not buying him as that. It sucks because he was
that face haunted me.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Yeah.
I had not seen any RoboCop movies. But what I had always seen, and for some reason on repeat on television, is the specific scene with him.
Yeah.
And he breaks the lady's neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like with that face, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
That anytime I turned the TV on, if RoboCop happened to be on, it wasn't the first, wasn't the third, it was the second one, and it was that same damn scene.
I do like the idea that he was addicted to Nuke. So what's her name? Dr. Fax is like, we'll keep him addicted to Nuke, and that's how we'll keep him in line. Because OCP wants to make a new RoboCop.
Yeah.
The last RoboCop, Murphy, he's a little unpredictable. He gets caught in that trap and they disassemble him. They like rip him apart, which is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And he's like, I like when they dump him out and he's like, oh.
That was pretty good effects, honestly.
That was good. So they want to make another RoboCop 2, and I love one of the good things they did. When Johnson is like showing the video of the previous RoboCop 2s they attempted. The one RoboCop 2 you actually get to fight a bunch of in the video game. The new video game. But I love that he just rips his head off and starts screaming. And I like
it's nice.
I like that the other one just shoots everyone and then himself, and then the alarms go. But basically, it's like every time they've tried to replicate RoboCop, the person in the robot has just gone insane and can't handle
it.
Like,
no, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah. So they have that, but again, like, oh, and Ann Lewis, she's just there.
Yeah,
she's there. Thought she was going to do more. Maybe they could develop. If you're doing a RoboCop sequel, it's like, how are they going to develop their relationship as a partner? Is RoboCop going to connect with his family? What's OCP up to? They went all in on what's OCP up to. They teased the idea of the wife, threw her away, and then Lewis is just there to help RoboCop.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it. I mean, she actually had like character, like motivation, lines, and you were like rooting for her in the first movie, and then
you
this
just kind of forget that she's there.
Background scene. She's just scenery.
She has a nice new haircut.
Yeah.
RoboCop makes sure to point out the hair.
You gotta recognize those haircuts on them women's.
Yeah, but I will say the old man, Dan O'Hurley, was really great. The head of OCP. I love that he's sleeping with the like Johnson really wants like a promotion or something. He realized he's competing with the doctor, and she's like sleeping with him in like the hot tub and everything. I love at the end when they realize Johnson's like, we could pin everything on her and make it look like it was her idea. And he's like, and then she comes over. She's like, you okay? He's like, oh yeah, I'm honey. That's what her. And she looks at Johnson. He's like, get to work right on that. He's just ready to fire. Like, even at the end where RoboCop 2 was like firing on the crowd and everything, and RoboCop 1 is fighting him, and he's like, behave yourselves. And he's like, this doesn't look good for OCP. Get our best spin team. Like
doesn't? Okay.
He's already, as it's going on, he's already thinking of ways to get out of it legally. He was really good. Johnson's really good.
Yeah.
I love that whole dynamic. RoboCop himself, I don't know what, and even Peter Weller had a problem with this script.
Yeah.
He literally went like, there's no third act. Like,
Is there a second?
I get injured. You put these protocols. I free myself. But then like, they just assumed him killing the big robot would be the big finale. And I'm like, well, go back and watch the first RoboCop. That really wasn't the finale, him fighting Ed 209. I mean, he shoots one at the end, but like there was a little bit more with like the company and stuff. And they were like, nope, just the bad guy's brain is in the robot. Kill him. But like the real bad guy, like what's his face? I know the old man lives, but he's not really the bad. He's a bad guy, but not the bad guy in the first one. But in the first one, it was Dick Jones. He was the real bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to see him die. And Clarence Boddicker. It wasn't
genuine. You knew they were the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like they were.
Yeah, and then that doesn't happen. He just shows up and it's okay. Look, I like stop motion and go motion. They overdid it.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
they
maybe?
look. I can't stress this enough. They just look like toys are beating each other up. They don't look like when RoboCop 2 picks him up and is slamming him on the walls. I'm like, I just look like I'm looking at toys. Like it doesn't look like that's really there. Compared to the go motion in the first RoboCop with
Yeah.
that 209,
Oh my
which of course
God.
can be a little janky.
But like the outline wasn't as.
Yeah, the outline,
I feel
and
like
also
it's just so prominent.
a lot of those shots were like super quick.
Yeah.
Like this one, they linger on a lot of those fights. And granted, Phil Tippett's doing his best, but it's just at some point it takes you out. Like just like bad CGI will take you out of a movie.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, what is this? I don't know what this. I don't like this.
No, I know. We talk about that later.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just kind of like a nothing. It's got funny moments. The mayor's really funny, how he's like trying to do the right thing, but he's doing it kind of shady. OCP is funny.
Yeah.
RoboCop's a letdown.
Yeah. Like the dialogue, even just like the non-RoboCop dialogue just felt very like, okay, why do I care what they're talking about? Why is someone dying, bleeding, being shot? Just come on.
I do like the ricochet shot they do in the beginning.
Yes.
Which is a game mechanic in the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can do ricochet shots.
Okay.
They knew what to take from 2, and that was one of them.
Well, that's good. At least as long as they take the good stuff.
And I never thought RoboCop 2 looked as like the machine RoboCop 2 never looked as good as Ed 209. Did you like the face is scary, but the rest of him I just thought it looked a little too busy.
It looks stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't really. It looks like a bad gorilla.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a gorilla.
Like I'm thinking like Transformers Beast Wars like gorilla. It's
Optimus Primal.
There you go. That's the one.
Have
The
you not
gorilla
seen
one.
Rise of the Beasts yet?
I have. I already forgot. It's that good.
The funny thing is, it's actually probably the best Transformers movie. But yeah,
no, it's
just
not
kind
that.
of-
It's not
kind of
bad. I
forgot,
just
yeah.
didn't. It's better than Extinction. Anyway,
Most things are. Most things are.
you're right. You're very right. And I saw Dark of the Moon. Okay. Anyway,
But yeah, it's okay. Like I don't hate it, but I can live without it. I know some people love it. Some people put it in high regard, like the same as 1. I'm just like
the commercials are better.
the commercials. Well, I don't want to say better. The commercials are really good. The commercials are really
They're
good.
more fun.
They're more fun. They're more fun.
They're more fun.
It just
I
kind of
like
feels
that.
like nothing happened. Like it just this didn't feel like a big moment in RoboCop's life. It's like, they put some stuff in my brain and fought another robot. It's like, get back together with the wife. Is she not there? Like, where's you can't
I can't stop seeing that face, Tony. It haunts me.
RoboCop needed a goal to work toward other than I have to stop the big robot, which he didn't, which wasn't even really a thing until like the later act. And again, it sucks to have like this amazing villain played by such a good actor just gets swapped out for stop motion and the CGI face. It's the problem we had with the Lawnmower Man movie. What's his face? Jeff Fahey is so good. And in the last act of that movie, he's just a big 90s CGI angry face.
Like Spawn levels of bad?
Pre-Spawn levels of bad.
It's worse than Spawn.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be inside
Than
like a
that-
video game world, so I guess it's allowed to
That
look super.
puppet thing from Spawn.
It looks pretty. It's on par with that. But again, both movies we lose this charismatic character because it turns into weird special effect. That's all I could say about RoboCop 2. Do you have anything to say about RoboCop 2?
I would not buy that for $1.
He's not even in this one.
I know.
He's in the next one.
That's why I said this time on purpose.
Yeah,
Because I wouldn't buy it for.
I'd like to read the comic and see if it would have been better.
Yeah.
Good idea. There's good ideas in here. I'm going to say that about
definitely.
Say that about the next movie. There are good ideas. I wish the studio trusted them to see some of those ideas all the way through.
Well, Orion had a different agenda in general than most like
Orion,
most motion picture companies or houses.
Orion should have had an agenda called not filing for bankruptcy. That should have been on the list of their.
They made a lot of
Can I tell you
difficult decisions? Let's say.
Can I tell you one decision they made to help promote this movie?
Yeah, go for it.
WCW, 1990.
Oh, I'm listening.
I believe it was called Capital Punishment. Ooh. Happened a few months before this movie came out.
For RoboCop 2? Okay.
Yeah, and they really wanted to promote RoboCop 2. So there was a match, I think, it was definitely Sting versus, I think, Ric Flair.
Okay.
Because it was against him and the Four Horsemen. They were afraid the Four Horsemen would interfere, and of course they did. They put Sting in a cage. He wasn't able to, do the match, but who do you think came out and saved Sting?
Please tell me it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, it was RoboCop. They had a guy in a RoboCop suit come out and rip the door off the cage so Sting could go fight. And I think part of his leg was falling off, the costume was falling off.
It's taped on or something.
It is. People say it's one of the this is WCW. This is one of the dumbest things WCW ever did.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not the last time they had a movie character interfere. Chucky once cut a promo with Rick Steiner when Bride of Chucky was coming out.
God.
And actually,
is there no end?
Actually, it's funny. They did do a clever callback because NXT, WWE's developmental thing.
Yeah.
It also airs on USA, just like the Chucky show. Okay. So to promote the Chucky show a few years ago, they had the Chucky doll interact with Rick Steiner's son. I forget what name he wrestles under. So I thought that was a funny callback.
That's ridiculous.
But yes, you could look up video of RoboCop saving Sting in WCW, which is bizarre because as a kid, I thought wrestling was real. I didn't watch this one live. I found out about this one years later.
Oh, okay.
But it would
have.
That's
a shame. You would have been so happy, I'm sure.
It would have thrown me off though, because I'm well, I know movies are fake, but wrestling's obviously real. So what's RoboCop doing here?
You're right. Maybe it's better you didn't see that, honestly.
It would have really thrown off my whole reality.
Yeah.
I love that, you have to consider, wrestling continuity, different different movies I've been in. Shaft, the Samuel Jackson Shaft is in continuity with WWE.
I think I'm a little upset that I know that now.
Keep in mind, that Shaft movie with Samuel Jackson was tied to the old film. So all the Shaft movies are in continuity with WWE. Because the week that movie came out, they did a thing where different wrestlers were going to a nightclub to get advice from Shaft. And it was Samuel Jackson.
See, what they needed was Shaquille O'Neal as Steel.
Oh, that would have saved them.
That would have been way better. Because then there's the trifecta of Shaft being involved. You know what I mean? Because Shaft was in Steel. Obviously. Great movie. Choice film.
Perfect film.
Flawless
I do remember.
Great costume. Just, you got to check it.
What you call it? WCW did have a wrestler that was Mortal Kombat inspired. Glacier.
Was that Frozone or something? What?
He looked like Sub-Zero, but his name was Glacier.
It just sounds like a bad Mountain Dew
That guy
taste.
still wrestles under Glacier once in a while. Glacier is back. Anyway.
Yeah, Glacier.
Now RoboCop 2 is fun to watch in the moment, but once it's done, you just kind of forget about it.
You do. It's, there's a good amount of
and you end up talking about wrestling shit.
Yeah. Wow, it got more interesting talking about RoboCop wrestling.
It would have been very awkward if 2014 they had that RoboCop save someone, because obviously WWE, once they bought WCW, everything's in continuity. Yeah. How could there be these two different Are we supposed to believe there's a multiverse in WWE?
That would throw me off.
Anyway,
so hard.
Next up, RoboCop 3. This was they got lucky with filming.
Lucky.
Everything
That's
looked
what you
like
say about
everything looked like, I mean, where they were filming, it looked kind of like a rundown town. They were blowing shit up. That's because they filmed in Atlanta, Georgia, right before the Summer Olympics, and all those buildings were going to be torn down anyway. So they're like, hey, got a bunch of desolate buildings we can film our gentrification story here with.
Perfect. Do you want to know a funny little tip about our lead actor who's RoboCop?
Robert John Burke, yeah.
So he plays Smitty in Wakanda Forever. That's right. RoboCop is in the Marvel Universe.
He did it. He
He did it. He played. Do you remember that character, Smitty?
No.
Neither do I. Neither do I, Tony.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
But they credited him, and he has a fucking name, and it's Smitty.
I watched Wakanda Forever once,
Okay.
and I liked the first Black Panther.
Yeah, I really like the first Black
I really
Panther,
liked it.
actually.
The effects,
Forever
the effects in the third act, they clearly weren't confident in how well the movie would do, and they should have spent a little bit more money on that third act.
Yeah.
But overall, the movie's fine. I watched Wakanda Forever, and I went, "Oh, this sucks."
Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was a very beautiful film, oddly. Like some of the, I liked the cinematography of it. Like it was a very attractive film, like the way that they did that. I can't speak much more good about it, though. After that, it's just, oh, that movie's kind of pretty. What happened in it?
There were
Stuff.
water people.
Yeah. Oh, no, I forgot. They looked really stupid, didn't they? Anyway.
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
Oh,
They had little girl Iron Man.
They need to bring back the rhino. The rhinos from the first one.
Oh, yes, which I have an action figure of over there.
What? Small world.
Yeah, no, Wakanda Forever was garbage.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I didn't like it. It was clear they didn't know what to do.
Well, what's his face from Nope was doing Nope.
Yeah.
So
It sucked he wasn't able to come back. Yeah, and
he would have helped, honestly.
I don't mind the girl who plays Black Panther's sister, but I don't really think she's the...
We all wanted Chadwick Boseman.
Obviously. But,
Like, period. The end.
But yeah, no, that... Oof. If you're a Black Panther fan, good luck with the future of those movies. I'm tapping out. Anyway, what were we saying? Oh yeah, Robert John Burke.
Yes.
He replaced Peter Weller,
Yeah.
who
Which
was doing...
so weird.
I have it
that
here.
They did that.
Peter Weller, one, he probably didn't want to come back because he was really not happy
After
with
this.
RoboCop 2 because,
That makes
as we
sense.
mentioned, it didn't have a third act. But he was filming a movie called Naked Lunch, so he was not able to do it. So they got Robert John Burke to come in. Now, here's the problem.
Isn't Naked Lunch the one with the lizards?
I don't remember. I don't know if I've seen it.
I know the Simpsons joke where it was just like that. No one was naked or eating lunch. That's for sure.
Maybe. I don't know. We should probably watch it. Let's watch it right now. We'll be right back.
All right. Naked Lunch it is.
The suit that Robert John Burke is wearing
Yes.
was built for Peter Weller in RoboCop 2. And
Oh.
Robert John Burke is taller than Peter Weller.
And we all know the problems from the first movie that they had with that. So, okay.
Yeah.
I
So
know where this is headed.
he was uncomfortable in this suit,
Oh, yeah?
which I don't blame him if you're a little bit taller and it doesn't
Yeah,
fit
but
right.
I feel like he was more mobile in this movie for sure. Like, at least when it comes to, like, just noticing poses that he was doing.
I guess so,
Like,
yeah.
if he was on the ground, like, in the first two movies, he
Yeah.
couldn't articulate up to look.
Yeah, maybe
you know
they
what I
change
mean?
it up a
Like,
little bit,
And by
yeah.
the third one, like, I specifically remember, I'm like, how is he, like... Maybe like the way that they framed it, he wasn't wearing the pants or
Yeah,
something.
that's what
like,
that's usually what
and
they
it was
did.
just like because the
that's-
costume was only half worn, kind of like a C-3PO
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's
is
what they did with
why
the-
he was able to.
the driving scenes, they have him take the legs off so he
Yeah.
can actually drive.
Okay.
I feel bad for Robert John Burke because this is a hard role to step in, but like he's even more robotic than the first movie.
Police officer, no loitering.
Maybe he only watched again, like the problem is he should be more relaxed and more sociable by the end of the
Should.
first movie, but they to establish that he's still very robotic. And Robert John Burke is going a little too far in the robot.
Well,
thing.
maybe it's just because it's the first time he's doing it. He's like, well, I feel like I should be more. It's like, no, this is the third movie. Come on, dude.
Also, they had to address that his face changed. So the very first thing that happens to him is he gets hit with like fire and his face gets all messed up. So you're supposed to assume they like fixed up his face and
Yeah.
it looks a little different.
I mean, at least it doesn't. It has like almost like high evolutionary vibes from Guardians
yeah.
3, where it just looks like it's almost like peeled on there. You could just like pick it off.
Yeah, the makeup never looked as good as it did in the first one. Even RoboCop 2 didn't look as good as the first one.
Well, no, not the suit looked good though.
The suit looked good.
I'm still gonna
The makeup with the
vouch
head,
for the second.
something about
oh,
it never really jived with me.
No, it was just that little bit off.
So major plot points were taken from Frank Miller's original draft of RoboCop 2. But then he like kind of walked away. He had a quote saying like the director is the one with all the power. So I guess Fred Decker
Okay.
came in and just changed a bunch of stuff. But even he didn't have full control because Orion was even more hands-on with this, and they made the decision because they realized kids loved RoboCop, even though they weren't technically allowed to watch it.
Yeah.
So they made it PG-13.
That made me very upset.
Yep, they toned down the violence. They added a kid to the movie.
Toned down the good stuff. Come on.
Yeah. And I like Fred Dekker. He's a really good writer. He works a lot with Shane Black, and Shane Black actually is one of the cops in the film at the donut shop, the one that goes with Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Shane Black, who of course was in Predator, and then of course would team up with Fred Dekker to direct The Predator 2018, which we reviewed. Another movie with Fred Dekker that the studio got a little too involved with.
That seems to be some sort of trend.
Fred Dekker has some good movies out there. All right. Trust me. Monster Squad. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Night of the Creeps. Really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Good stuff. So they toned down the violence on this one.
Yeah. But they had some good stars in it, honestly. Like, I was really happy.
Yeah. I actually
was really
have
happy when I saw Bradley Whitford.
Bradley young Bradley Whitford is
yes, please. And
he's Jeffrey
thank you.
Fleck. Okay, yeah, this is the who's who of character actors. You got CCH Pounder as Bertha Black Lady.
Yes, Bertha. Okay.
Bradley Whitford, like you said. Rip Torn that replaces the old man.
Right? Freddy Got Fingers' dad. Like, come on.
Which, by the way, one cool thing with the game. So the movie tells you the old man died.
Yeah.
This movie never tells you who the mayor is. So the new game, Rogue City, has a lot of fun with that. They're like, because it's between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, now we can figure out how the old man died. And then it's like, also, we can figure out who's mayor. And it's multiple choice because there's no confirmation in the third film. So you can pick who you want.
Literally get to pick the mayor. Okay.
Jeff Garlin from Curb Your Enthusiasm, he's Donut Jerk is how he's
Donut Jerk. That's why is he Donut?
He's Donut Jerk.
Okay.
Lee Arenberg is Hold Up Man. I think that's the bald guy who tries to rob the donut store. He's one of the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, I know exactly.
Yeah, the wacky duo. Yeah, he was also in Seinfeld. He played a big phony in that one. Fulton Perry comes back as Donald Johnson.
Yeah, a lot of people
Mako.
coming back.
So OCP has been bought out by the Kanimitsu organization, and Mako from Conan the Barbarian, a bunch of other movies, is the head of that organization. There was like another character actor I wanted to point out. We mentioned Stephen Root. Oh, Daniel von Bargen.
Stephen Root, the bulldozer.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's one of the rebels. The other rebel is Daniel von Bargen, who was Malcolm in the Middle. He was the military school dude.
Yes, that made me so happy when I saw him. I was like, yes!
Yeah, we reviewed a movie with him a while back. Not me and you. Me and Joey C. We did The Faculty with him.
I wanted to see that because I'm an Elijah Wood fan.
This is fun seeing all of, like the character actors and smaller part actors.
By the way, this is my first time ever watching.
Oh,
RoboCop
really?
3.
I watched this.
So seeing Bradley Whitford and seeing all these people was just like, oh my God, how have I not seen this?
This was like the new one when I was a kid. Like the first one was 1990. I was alive, but I was like 1. This is one where I'm like paying attention to movies and stuff. Now, it was supposed to come out in 1992.
Okay.
Sat on a shelf for like over a year because Orion Pictures went bankrupt and someone else took over.
Oh, Orion just is a story of its own.
Yeah, they did a funny thing. They released it in a couple Asian countries like Japan, the Philippines, I think South Korea.
Okay.
Like a year before it came out in America. Because then the American release got delayed. So people were getting bootleg tapes from Asia and they were just watching the movie. And also from what I read, the video game came out, which I don't know if there was an AVGN episode on it. Oh. Did you work on that one? The RoboCop one?
Yeah, actually,
I think
I shot that episode. I shot that episode. Holy
It's been a minute since I watched it. I forgot if it's mentioned in the episode, but the game came out way before the movie, so the whole movie was spoiled by the game or bootleg tapes.
No, I remember that episode specifically because of the jetpack on the. Oh yeah. Anyway,
I'm assuming it was theatrical in America. I think maybe they shot it out on home video. I don't know. It wasn't a big movie. 1993, that's not the time you want to put your neutered RoboCop movie out into theaters. There's a lot going on in 1993. Although 1992 was also very busy. Yeah. You don't want to put RoboCop 3 up against Terminator 2. That is not. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
I literally texted that confusion to you.
You're
this week. I was just like, hey, do you happen to have a copy of the Terminator 3? I'm like,
oh wow, you must have really liked it, Tom, and wanted to watch it again.
No, it was RoboCop 3 that you need a copy of.
If you want to know what Tom thinks about Terminator 3, watch our What is the Worst Terminator episode, or go to the Clips and Streams channel. When we do these best and worst later on, I chop them up.
Okay.
So if you're like, I want to know what Tom has to say about Terminator 3 and only Terminator 3, you could just look up the Terminator 3 segment from that full episode.
That's badass.
But you should watch the full episode. It's one of our biggest ones. Yeah, so you got the who's who of the cast. You have a good writer, director, but you have not the best management ahead of it.
Yeah, it's not Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's neutered. That being said, I don't mind the story and the plot for the movie.
Yeah.
I think it flows a little bit better than the second one. Like, there's a focus. There's RoboCop.
Yeah.
We'll get to the problem with RoboCop, but there is a motivation for RoboCop to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
The rebels have clear motivation.
The punks or whatever. The crazy punks are.
Well, they're used by the bad guys. OCP is there.
You know.
Before we go more into the plot, let me actually read it.
Okay.
Omni Consumer Products, OCP, the conglomerate that designed RoboCop, now owns Detroit. The company plans to demolish one of the city's largest neighborhoods to build a gleaming city of the future. After an army of ruthless mercenaries finishes throwing everyone out of their homes, but RoboCop, Robert John Burke, sworn to protect the public, joins forces with a band of urban freedom fighters battling to save their neighborhood. After battling a lethally efficient ninja android and equipped with a new arsenal of high-tech weaponry, RoboCop and the courageous residents take on OCP's private army. It's all-out war, an explosive street fight that could destroy either the city or the evil powers behind the brutal corporate raid. And some guy, Candy Taylor said, "This is the best RoboCop ever." Okay, Candy. Yeah, I think the story works for the most part. It's a fun plot. I like that there's now an even more sinister organization owning the sinister organization.
Somehow it got more layers.
What did you think of this one? How did you feel about it?
I enjoyed the ideas of it. Since I'm coming off of it fresh.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the concepts. I thought that the ninja robot was just like, all right, this is that. I didn't realize he was a robot at first. Like, that totally threw me. I'm like, wait, what?
And then there was multiples of him.
Yeah, well, the one that was all messed up, they just put his face, which was just like this the whole time.
Speaking of people creeped out by
sleepaway
faces.
camp, just like a weird face that just sticks with you.
Speaking of people creeped out by the face of RoboCop 2, I have known people who were really scared of the ninja's face in this, with the jaw and then the shattered face.
No, RoboCop 2 face is so much scarier. So much worse.
Man, if that scares you, do not watch Lawnmower Man. That's all CGI faces at the end. You'll be terrified.
It lives with me.
Yeah, so it didn't work for you overall?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but laugh at the entire final showdown.
Yeah,
just beginning to end. It was not supposed to be funny.
Yeah,
but I was laughing the entire time RoboCop was in frame with a jetpack until he left frame with a jetpack, and then got it on again and off later, and each time was hilarious. I don't think they wanted that though.
No.
But
there is some good humor in this. Not enough fake commercials.
No.
There's one in the beginning for Delta City.
Mm-hmm.
They have one. So OCP has a rehab unit, which is like a bunch of mercenaries that are just trying to flush out the neighborhood so they can build. They still haven't built Delta City.
They haven't.
They're really struggling to get Delta City built. They start to in the game.
Well, you're selling this game for me, man.
Nice. It's a pretty good game. Oh, yeah. And one of my other favorite parts, comedy-wise. So, again, they're neutered by PG-13. They can't be really fun. But there's one dark joke. So, like, OCP is going into the shitter.
Yeah.
Because of the events of the film. They think RoboCop's gone rogue, but he was really set up.
Mm-hmm.
The Kanemitsu Corporation is going to, like, shut them down. So everyone's panicking in there. Mm-hmm. And Bradley Whitford's like, oh, what a bunch of cowards. Oh, he jumped out. Psh. That's why I bring a gun. But I do love. So I love that. I just walk by a guy's office. He's opening the window, and his wife's like, "It's not that bad. Can you still hear me?" And they show him jump, and I'm like, "Okay, for PG-13, that's fine." But
then they cut to
the ninja showing up, but you see him in the back. You don't see him splatter, but you see him fall. Like, I didn't think they were going to go the extra step.
No, I did not think so either. I thought it was going to be another place, another location.
But then Bradley,
that was kind of nice.
And Bradley Whitford's character is like a total dick. He then gets fired, and he pulls out the gun that he just mentioned. I love that, like, they timed it perfectly where like a few minutes or seconds go by. And Johnson's like, okay, and boom, you just hear him get shot. Like, that's dark for a PG-13 movie that's aimed toward kids. Like, I'm surprised they got that in there.
No, but it worked out.
Yeah.
Like to try to squeak it by, you know what I mean?
And here's the problem with these sequels, 2 and 3. I'm really more invested in like all the OCP stuff than I am RoboCop. RoboCop's the weakest part of this movie.
Yeah, entire all from when he becomes disabled until he's fully charged. Can they just fix all of that?
He's sidelined for a lot of the movie. It takes him, I think I clocked it like 20 something minutes maybe to actually show up in the movie. Which, I mean, it can be done, but I mean, when you're at the third one, it's like, okay, unless there's like a story reason for why he's not showing up, you know, like when it was done perfectly in The Dark Knight Rises, you know, they waited like an hour for him to show up in the suit, but they had a good story reason for it. Yeah. I'm in that movie, by the way. I don't know if I ever brought it up before.
What? Never.
Oh, but yeah, I was in it.
That's crazy.
I can sign your DVD if you have it or something.
I would love that.
Okay, bring it over and I'll sign it. Okay. Anyway,
you can sign my Creed movie then.
I will.
Right. That's right, an extra in Creed.
Oh no, so you'll sign it for me.
No, you're gonna I just want you to sign stuff so I can sell it.
You want me to sign your Creed DVD even though I'm not an extra in Creed?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure your autograph brings the value up of stuff.
I have signed movies that I wasn't in, so that has happened. You know, you should get if you have Creed 2, hunt down the mayor from Mummy Cop. He had a small part in Creed 2. He's at the bar in Creed 2. Oh
my God.
Did you see Creed 2?
No.
Oh. Well, see Creed 2. It's good. And Creed 3 is good too.
Okay.
Even though the bad guy is being canceled at the moment. It's still a good movie.
Yeah, I never made it past Rocky 3, so.
Oh, okay. Well, if you get to Creed 2, there's a moment in the bar and like he's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at the theater. I'm like, that's the mayor from Mummy Cop. I know him. That's how I know this was shot in Philadelphia. I know him.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. I wonder who was the cinematographer for the second season of Mummy Cop.
Oh, I think it was this guy's.
You know what? Probably the same guy that shot a couple episodes of Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I think that's connected.
And we all know we're talking about me. I'm just so talented.
Tony's just so many hats Tony wears. So many hats.
You did a very good job, Tom.
Thank you.
Anyway.
I appreciate it. I'll just give myself a little pat. So the continuity I had the biggest issue with in the third movie.
Okay.
So I have a couple things here. So like the repair scene, which was fun. I liked that when they were just like, "Oh, I didn't know that was under there."
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Like gushing out. I'm
stuff
like, all right,
stuff like that feels like the first one.
That was a cute little thing, but there was some continuity in there because I believe he said they were at 24. He's like, "Oh, I'm at 24% efficiency," and then seconds later, they have the visor down and it says 12% efficiency. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Who are you lying to here?
The movie's broken.
I need to know percentages. Because later on, he's like, I'm 93% efficient. I only need to be 90 to be normal. I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention to your percentages. Why?
Don't put a number on it. We're going to look at that number and see if it matches.
And it does. It's seconds. Come on. All right. There's other ones. So when in the finale, when the swords connect.
Yes, when they tricks the girl is a hacker. There's a little girl in the movie.
Yes.
Who is a hacker.
So when the little girl hacks the ninja robots.
Yeah.
For the ending fight finale.
Yeah.
Once they do the double sword, the swords don't connect with the body. The heads just fly off. And one of them just like explodes. And like, but the swords, if you look closely, the swords come right up, and it like hits him like just a little off on the shoulder, and then the heads. I'm like, what the
0 star
continuity, guys?
I was already out at the ending because RoboCop finally comes back. He kills the one ninja.
Robo comes back.
Yeah.
Good old Robo.
He's always coming back, and then he gets sidelined. He kills the one ninja. So I do love that OC, like the cops and the rebels and the citizens are warring on the streets against the tyrannical mercenaries, much like the end of The Dark Knight Rises. And much like the end of Dark Knight Rises, the hero comes flying in, but Batman had that cool plane. RoboCop has his jetpack, and it looks so bad.
With like the F-14 jet, and like as they start to hear it coming in, and like the glass like shatters because this aircraft is essentially coming through.
Really, the effect is so bad. Especially at the end when he's carrying the girl, and Dr. Lazarus, played by Crossing Jordan. Remember that show, Crossing Jordan?
Yeah.
She was the star of it. I don't know what that show's about. I just know her because I used to see her in
Don't cross
advertisements.
Jordan.
That's what it was about.
Better not cross her.
But he's flying with them at the end.
Once again, the continuity. So if the jet engine from a distance is loud enough and strong enough to resonate and break glass.
Yeah.
And like people are like wincing and crowd like, oh, this is so loud. They would be dead. Their heads would have exploded if they were riding and being carried by RoboCop.
Did you
with
like
the jet dead? Just mush people, just a splatter on the pavement. They would have not survived. Their inner eardrum would have imploded. They just blood.
And also, they don't
pouring
have
out
flights,
of their faces.
if they don't have like flight suits on, so they're
and
going.
for how fast he was, like,
he
slowed down to go 2 miles per hour with his jet engine to pick them up safely, and then say, "Oh no, let me just
and then,
fire." No, that's not how physics works.
Did you enjoy when he like shows up at the end? How he just kind of like swung in awkwardly, like as if he was on a wire and they let him go.
Like he just paused for a
he
second.
He doesn't look like he's fine. He looks like because he literally was swung in with a wire.
The effects on that are the worst.
They're so bad. Yeah, again, RoboCop's the weakest part of the film because he's played by a new guy, so you're switching up the main character. He's not even really the main character. No. You're switching him up.
He's out
last
of commission.
minute.
Oh wait, and we forgot his partner dies.
I was just getting to that.
Fuck, sorry.
So I was disappointed that Lewis was just kind of there in the second one.
Yeah.
Not really doing much. And I'm like, all right, when I was a kid and saw this, I'm like, all right, Lewis is going to kick ass.
Yeah.
And her introduction's really good where they're at the bar and they're like, Lewis. She dies. She gets shot.
Just dead.
And then, like, it's not even like, is she going to come back at the end? Is he going to? No, she's dead. So that's RoboCop's.
She's the motivation.
Yeah, it's RoboCop's motivation
for the
to
entire
come back. Yeah.
Movie. It's just to.
Which is something, I guess. But I'd rather you
more motivation than the second one, I guess.
Yeah, but I'd rather you just didn't kill Lewis because Lewis is great. And we never really, besides the first movie, we never really got to see her shine.
No.
Like if you think about it, like, Ripley and Sarah Connor, like, they're not badasses in their first films.
No.
They get the job done, but the second films are where they got to, like, shine and be the ultimate badass. So if you're like, okay, in these era of movies, like, all right, Lewis is a badass in the first one. I want to see how much more ass she kicks in 2 and 3, and then she just doesn't.
So is it kind of like a maniac cop, kind of like a disappointment where you just go in, oh, I can't wait to have this character in the movie.
Can't wait for Bruce Campbell to kick
Campbell's
more ass.
gonna be so good in this
Maniac Cop does it right. I like how they have Bruce Campbell so much in that movie and then kill him to really trick you. That's awesome. Yeah, this was. Don't ever put this in the same league as Maniac Cop 2. Maniac Cop 2 is
okay. Dark Phoenix. We'll say Dark Phoenix because when Jennifer Lawrence is just like, I don't want to be blue anymore. Fucking end it. Just come on, please. Don't want to be blue anymore. Like I'm literally gonna start wearing suits now, so you don't have to make me fucking blue.
She wanted out of those movies so bad.
Maybe she wanted out of RoboCop. You know, she was like, "There's going to be RoboCop 4 and 5, and I just don't got time for this. I'm getting too old." Sorry, she's just getting too
you're
old
so
for
upset
this.
you died there for a second.
She's getting too old for this shit, man. She's getting too old.
Yeah, Lewis dying is a bummer. So much of the focus is on crossing Jordan and the little girl. They're kind of the main characters of the film.
The little girl is very important.
Yeah,
which
again
makes sense in a RoboCop movie.
you don't really. The only kid I would ever want to see in a RoboCop movie is his son. Like him trying to reconnect with his son.
Oh, I was thinking like Robo Boy. I'm like,
No.
what? They're gonna find like a dying child, turn him into
No, he had a
police
son in the
officer?
first movie.
What?
I wanted him to
know.
reconnect with him.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just I immediately envisioned Robo Son.
I mean, maybe his son also got shot up by Clarence Boddicker. Clarence Boddicker's son shot
So
him.
terrible. And they have a dog too.
Clarence Boddicker's dog. His group of dogs ate RoboCop's dog. They're like, oh no! And Clarence Boddicker's dog was working with the head of the dog food company.
No, it's perfect. There's a dog food, evil dog food.
Robo
corporation.
Dog. Well, they kind of did Robo Dog. It's called Man's Best Friend. I reviewed it with James. It's not very
I
good.
thought it was Axel or something like that.
Oh, I
Never
didn't
heard-
watch that.
I didn't either. I just heard about that legendary film.
Yeah, there was a robot.
Some sort of
dog
robot
movie.
dog. It's not like Mega
You know
Man
what?
Robot Dog.
There's
It's,
probably
uh,
10,000 Robo Dog movies.
now that we get down to it, I mean, just short of Cujo, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good movie, Robo Cujo.
Robo Cujo, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Thought of it here first.
Yeah, RoboCop 3. People hate this movie. I can't bring myself to hate it because it's just, again, much like 2. There were some good ideas. I
Yeah.
could see what they were trying to do. It
Yeah.
didn't quite stick. Neither of them stick the landing for me. I hit them again. I've gone so many episodes not really bumping into Stephen Root.
And now that we're reviewing
Reviewing a movie with
Stephen
Stephen Root, I'm hitting Stephen Root left and right. And you know what? He deserves it. He's a traitor in this movie.
He is.
Backstabs the rebels.
The Bulldozer is a piece of shit in this.
God, I'm not looking forward to the King of the Hill reboot.
Why don't you just watch News Radio?
Yeah.
Watch News Radio instead.
You know, I was watching some clips from it. I never got too into that show back in the day, but I was watching some Stephen Root clips.
Phil Hartman, right? Or am I thinking Spin City? David Spade?
No, I think Stephen Root was in News Radio.
Okay.
I watched whatever one it
forget.
was. I watched a lot of clips of Stephen Root on that show. I'm like, I feel like I would like the show. I should try to watch it someday.
Yeah, it's
Is
good.
it
Unlike-
streaming?
it's definitely better. It's better than Wings, you know.
Yeah. But is it streaming? Because a lot of those old shows don't stream. Like the Drew Carey show doesn't stream.
I think there was some
I think the music.
stuff about it.
No, I think the music. They use so much copyright music in that. And I think the licensing.
Gotcha.
But I was also thinking. Sorry, we're on the '90s show thing. I'm like, why don't most girls talk about Ally McBeal? That was like a big show for women. And I'm like, oh, it just never streams.
Didn't I think Robert Downey Jr. was on there?
Yeah, you feel like that would be a bigger show that people would be rewatching. It just doesn't replay anywhere.
I always remember that Family Guy joke about like that when they get rid of the bear with the chain shaking a jar of coins at it.
I don't remember that.
Oh no, it's.
I remember Futurama making fun of Ally McBeal.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Ally
it
McBeal's-
was relevant for a minute. So
I
yeah.
learned this Ally McBeal
like-
thing. Did you expect when you turned on the worst RoboCop movie that you would start talking about Ally McBeal? I was in Boston.
Okay.
And I looked up film locations.
Yes.
And the exterior for her law firm was in Boston. I took a picture and I'm like, guess what show this was in? Not one person guessed Ally McBeal. That's how
No.
much it's left.
You're gonna get like Murphy Brown locations over Ally McBeal, okay?
Oh, God.
So
Murphy?
Murphy. Wait,
I
we
wasn't-
we still have another movie, don't we?
Alex Murphy Brown. Why are we talking about forgettable 90s things? Oh, yeah, RoboCop 3.
RoboCop 3, that's it. That's why. Oh, same level there.
At least they knew that you had to have a human villain.
Yeah.
So they have the ninja robot. But again, there's multiple ninja robots, but you still needed that.
Also a good surprise.
Yeah, but you
Fooled
also
me.
needed that human element. You needed that, like Clarence Boddicker, Dick Jones, and they have
Yeah.
that in the who's the bad guy?
The corporation. The white-haired guy.
Yeah,
It's always
was-
the white-haired guy in these
That's
movies.
Sergeant Warren Reed. Is that the name of the guy?
but Captain Power Trip, the normal, I have all the power. that guy.
I think it's Warren Reed. Is the
He's
name.
pretty trope.
Yeah, But like he's a human villain. He's
Yeah.
evil. He's working for the Kanemitsu and OCP, but he's more on Kanemitsu's side.
Yeah, because of money, because that's how
Yeah.
they build the conglomerate. Blah
Yes.
blah blah.
And he's the one who got Alex. No, he's the one who got Lewis killed.
Yes.
So they were smart with that. Although his death scene is not satisfying. He just
Not at all.
you don't even get to see him blow up. His legs
No.
get burnt.
Uh-huh.
RoboCop fires
Yes.
on the jets. And they burn his legs, and he tries to stop the explosion with OCP, and OCP blows up. But again, it's
Just a
PG-13.
beautiful CGI of him flying with them. And
I was thrown off in the beginning when they're showing the Delta City commercial in CGI. I'm like, when I rewatched this like a few years back, I'm like, oh man, it's a commercial within the movie. We're not meant to believe. I'm like, okay, for a minute, I'm like, oh, they thought that was real. Oh my god. It was almost there. Maybe if it had a little bit more violence.
yeah, oh definitely.
And if it was,
that's what it was missing.
If it had
more violence, less of that kid and that plot line.
more RoboCop, preferably Peter Weller if it was an option, and a little bit more violence, I think you would have had something here.
Yeah, they hid the violence in there pretty well for what it was.
Yeah.
But like it just felt it was missing.
Yeah,
the whole
it's
time,
just-
regardless.
It feels like they want it to be more adult oriented, but they had to be more kid friendly. Luckily, Fred Decker had practice with Monster Squad, which is supposed to be a movie for kids, but it's also very mature. So they got the right guy to kind of toe the line.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't enough. Again, not having Peter Weller really hurts it.
Oh yeah,
Really, you
sure.
think this would be an easy character to swap out, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's not like Dredd where it's just a frown. You know what I
Well,
mean?
Dredd
But-
now would be hard to Sylvester Stallone Dredd.
Yeah, no.
Well, that would be hard to recast for different reasons because it's like if you were in the same continuity, it's like you have to do a Stallone imitate. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Carl Urban fan,
Yeah.
so like that's just me personally.
but I'm thinking like it's not like Jason or Michael Myers.
yeah, where you don't see them, so it's literally it's
Freddy
like,
Krueger,
what's the difference?
yeah.
Oh, that guy's chest is bigger and wider than that guy who's shorter. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
It
the
would be
difference.
hard to replace Arnold as Terminator now.
Well, they do that already with
But, like-
CGI. Bullshit.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if Terminator 2 ended up having a different Terminator, like a different actor playing it. If it was,
no,
I feel like back then people would have been like, oh well, obviously Arnold's not coming because he didn't come back for Predator 2.
yeah, true.
I feel like that I don't know. RoboCop's hard. Peter Weller really nailed it. It's hard to replace him.
My friends call me Murphy. You call me RoboCop.
It's almost as like that first RoboCop movie was lightning in a bottle, and you can't really recapture that magic or
It's-
recreate that magic.
It's tough. They definitely didn't do it with RoboCop 3.
No. Do you know what else they didn't do it with?
What?
RoboCop 2014. A movie I was so against happening.
Yeah.
This is still when I was like, not everything had been ruined for me yet.
Okay.
Like, the Batman movies got bad in the 90s, then they got good again. Those had just finished.
Oh yeah.
They inspired this film, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then like, Halloween was remade. That kind of sucked.
Wait, which one? Oh,
The original one was
Yeah.
remade at this point. I'm like, well, there's something I loved as a young and
but
ruined.
Tyler Mane.
Your best friend. But yeah, then like the Alien movies were pretty bad. Prometheus I thought was going to be good, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Now everything has been ruined, and I don't care anymore. Now I'm like,
Good. So you're excited for the newer Alien movie? Alien, who gives a shit?
I'm not excited for it. I'll see it. I'm not going to be devastated if it's bad because I went through 4 terrible films.
Is Danny McBride in it?
No.
Oh, well, no,
was
I'm
the
good.
last one.
I'm good then.
But I was thinking about this. I'm like, man, because I was watching it today, and I'm like, man, I was angry in the theater watching this. I saw it with Anthony from
Really?
Mummy Cop. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
This was actually his box set that he lent to me. He gave me a bunch of his DVD collection. I'm like, yeah, I'll throw it on the set. That'll be fun. Specifically for this episode. But yeah, we were pissed at the time. We're like, fuck this. Again, it's PG-13.
Yeah,
we were very,
that was
very
another
mad.
mistake.
But I was rewatching it today, and I'm like, I still don't like it, but I'm not as mad as I was back then. I'm thinking of like,
Okay.
they remade Roadhouse recently.
Yes.
And I thought I was going to hate Roadhouse. Did you end up watching it?
Pain don't hurt. Did they use that line?
I forget if they did.
Oh.
Did you ever end up watching it?
I have not seen the new iteration.
They fucked up on the fight scenes. Everything else was actually...
That's half the movie.
Everything else was actually okay.
Yeah.
They tried to do the... And I actually reviewed it. We did it on a monthly wrap-up, but I clipped it on that Clips channel. So if you look up Roadhouse Remake Hack the Movies, you'll find my review of it. But yeah, they did the thing where they had an actor punching a green bag and then filmed the other actor reacting to it so you could actually have a connect. But they overdid the effect and it was super... So all the fight scenes, you could just tell for a lot of it, the people aren't really there. And the camera movements feel very digital. I'm like, are they even on a set? The fight scenes ruined the movie. And the movie would have been okay otherwise.
That sucks. So it just won't be your regular Saturday night thing.
No, it will not be my Saturday night thing. However, it was still better than this remake. So this is directed by Jose Padilla, a Brazilian guy.
Okay.
He's done a couple things since then.
Anything I've heard of?
I don't think so.
That sounds like a very prolific career.
Written by Joshua Zeddemore. This was like, as far as I can tell, his first writing credit.
That sounds familiar. Zeddemore.
But he had uncredited rewrites on Quantum of Solace, the second Daniel Craig movie, which was done during the writer's strike. So a lot of people did rewrites on that movie.
Yeah.
And he also did uncredited rewrites on The Darkest Hour, a movie where the people are stuck in Russia and aliens are attacking.
I'm not familiar with that.
Just another winner there.
Okay.
So this movie.
Yeah, Rick Flag is RoboCop.
For a while, I would not watch anything with Joel Kinnaman in it.
Really? Why?
Because I was so mad he was playing RoboCop.
Oh,
I've
he's
gotten
not
over
that bad.
Much like I've gotten over Jason Momoa for ruining Conan the Barbarian. I'm now like, I'm less critical these days. As I enter my twilight years, I'm less critical of actors' decisions. But for a while, I'm like, I'm not watching anything with Joel Kinnaman. Fuck that. And then when House of the Cards was really hot, he was in season 3. I'm like, well, I'm not going to not watch House of Cards. I guess I'll watch Joel Kinnaman in it. Yes,
I didn't make it to that season, oddly enough.
Huh?
I didn't make it to that season because, like, when I started watching House of Cards, was like the wrong time, like, to start watching.
Yeah,
I watched it late. I was in like season 2, and then some things went down, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to keep watching House of Cards.
Smart. I didn't watch the last season.
Which is a shame because it was a very beautiful show.
It was a good show.
Again,
I didn't watch the last season.
Filming wise, beautiful.
I Googled what happened and I'm like, oh, that sucks. Probably should have just canceled the show. Anyway, so he plays Alex Murphy, RoboCop in this.
No, you seem disappointed. Like, disappointed with the actor, disappointed with the choice of how they represented the character.
I'm disappointed in whatever that accent was he was doing. Was that supposed to be a Detroit accent?
Oh,
his
I have no
cop
idea.
accent?
I don't know.
Yeah, 2 years without no arrest, no nothing. You either got to be dumb or dirty. Why you acting so nervous, man? You fishing on us, Jerry?
I didn't like his. I'm like, what is he doing? This sounds like a first-year acting student trying to be like a cop from like,
well, that was his
big city.
First big break. So maybe they wanted him to phone it in a little bit.
I don't know, but
he's a lot bigger of a deal now.
I like that they changed Lewis into a man.
Yeah,
played by the late Michael K. Williams. I believe he originally was the bad guy in Solo, a Star Wars story, when it was supposed to be motion capture. And then they had to reshoot the whole movie, and they were like, we do not have a budget for a motion capture actor. Get Paul Bettany and put some weird shit on his face. There we go.
That stinks because, like, the cinematographer, I forget his name for Solo, is beautiful film.
Yeah.
Beautiful film. Sorry, I watch movies a little bit differently than most people.
No, he was the cinematographer for Arrival, which was really good.
Oh my god, Arrival's so good.
Which did he do?
Even like for a movie that not much happens in, such a great movie.
I wonder if he did Dune with Denis Villeneuve.
I forget. He's up there with like the real quality talent.
Well, speaking of Dune, we learned that Joshua Zeddemore, the writer, wrote like a treatment or something for an unproduced reboot of Dune. So this movie, my problem with it, it's trying to be anything other than RoboCop. And
it's not RoboCop.
It seems annoyed when it has to be RoboCop. This feels like
some of the throwbacks felt like they
yeah.
Do we have to say these lines?
Yeah,
it's like, well, yeah, it's part of the.
It knew they were gonna live in the original one's shadow, but so the thing
delivery
is,
of the buy that for $1.
they throw that line in, they butcher it a little bit.
Well, there you have it. 5.6 seconds behind scenario failure. I wouldn't buy that for $1.
So they're taking the story of RoboCop and they're turning it into a superhero origin story.
So would this be considered a reimagining?
I guess so.
Like, just because it's RoboCop with the same kind of plot behind it, but with just a different everything?
I guess, yeah, only
you know what I mean? Like, there's some little...
Some of the characters' names are the same, not all of them.
But like the cast, oh god, that's another thing we could talk about in a good way.
Here's the thing. So again, 2014, this is when the superhero genre is exploding.
Yes.
The Dark Knight trilogy just finished. It's kicking ass. Man of Steel just came out, and DC's like, this will be our Avengers. The Avengers movies are still kicking ass. All the Marvel movies are firing on all cylinders. So this movie has Gary Oldman.
Gary fucking Oldman.
From the Dark Knight trilogy. Because they want to remind you, hey, if you like those movies, we got one of the guys from that movie.
One of them.
And
Gary Oldman's an amazing actor, though. Like, oh my god,
he is a great actor.
I just want to like watch The Professional now.
Then you got Michael Keaton, the original Batman from the 80s.
So good. Very talented actor once again. Plays a great villain.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean,
he's a good actor.
I enjoyed the acting.
Michael Keaton's a very good actor.
Choices, except for Rick Flag, were really good in this.
And then you have Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that was
from the Marvel movies.
Right?
It really is like, remember this guy from this thing? Remember that guy from this thing? Speaking of comic book movies, they got Jackie Earle Haley as a character named Rick Maddox, the guy who controls the drones. He was Rorschach in Watchmen.
Yes, that's why he looked familiar.
He was in another really bad remake that I covered, Nightmare on Elm Street. He was the Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Oh no,
yeah,
the face.
Yeah,
with the face. Yeah.
Also, Jay Baruchel's in this.
Yeah, for just
wasn't expecting
for fun. They're just like, yeah, the guy from This Is the End. Yeah, throw him in there. I don't think the timeline worked out, but you know what I mean.
I still really don't like this movie. It just feels like they took something that was creative for the time, RoboCop. Because RoboCop wasn't like Terminator. It wasn't like a superhero. It's like a guy dies. He's now a robot. He's got to rediscover his humanity. If anything, he's trying to learn how to not be this superpowered being and try to find his original self. And they're turning it into guy dies. Now he has all these new powers. Now let's do the part of the movie where they're discovering all their powers and testing their limits.
And then they're stopping their limits because they're like, no, those limits are too limited.
Yeah, and now he's got to fight through that to fight the bad guys at the end. He's got to beat all the bad robots.
Which, that was never really a thing in any of the other movies. They were just like, hey, robot command is a robot command.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
There's no what if or how about.
He has to come up with a clever way in the first movie to work around his program.
Exactly. And this is just like, what if his willpower's just really good,
again,
guys?
Which is good for like a superhero movie trying to overcome your weakness and
willpower. Might as well make it family. Like, come on.
His family was there at the end, so the family did help with the willpower.
Yeah, I know. It's just because that's how he deviates off of his prime directive or whatever.
Yeah.
And he starts looking at his kid because his kid's super sad.
So basically, in this world, the government is able to use military robots, drones, robots.
Yeah, the Ed 209 and all that has been militarized.
Yes, and they're using it.
Very efficient.
They're using it overseas in wars because we didn't want to send our boys there anymore. So it's all drones. I think they're in Tehran in the beginning.
Yes.
They made it. America made it to Iran, finally. They're there. But they're not allowed to use it on American soil. And there's one senator that's stopping this. This actually sounds like a good premise for a RoboCop movie, to be honest.
Well, because they use the satire from the previous movies for the whole political aspect. You know what I mean?
This movie is humorless. It has none of the fun stuff. The closest it gets is Samuel L. Jackson as the Fox News type guy.
Yeah.
Now, I have no doubt he was manipulated by a biased media.
That's as close as it gets.
That's all.
And I would have liked to see him in the movie more.
I think that he wasn't. He should have been more over the top because, like, it was.
Yeah.
I know they wanted to make the movie more relatable. It's like, okay, I can see that happening. Blah de blah.
Yeah.
No, the point of RoboCop is to be over the top with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they are not. They're just,
No. They should have had Samuel Jackson go. He does curse a little bit at the end.
He does. That's a nice little. That's where I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
At that extreme.
Yeah. So Omnicorp.
It's just
it gets change OCP at the end. I think
that the logo.
Yeah.
Is literally Capsule Corp from Dragon Ball Z. Like I wish I was exaggerating.
It's basically there's
like a tiny little sliver.
Yeah.
That isn't cut out. And it's the exact same logo, and I'm like, you guys tried so hard.
So yeah, in stateside, Michael Keaton, Raymond Sellers, he wants to put these militarized robots on the street.
Yeah,
but he's not allowed to because this one senator's blocking it. So they're like, okay, you know what? We'll put a man and have him cybernetically enhanced.
Yeah,
and that'll help smooth things over. And they're going through all the candidates for who could be in this RoboCop program. Gary Oldman's like, no, they're all mentally unstable. You need someone who's like stable. And as luck would have it, they didn't interfere with this like they did in remember the original one? Bob Morton said, yeah, we repositioned potential candidates into high crime areas.
Yeah.
Basically setting up the things
so that he would get a crippled person.
It's just coincidence. Alex Murphy and his partner.
Hey guys, you won't believe this. This guy's dying. All right, we're gonna totally make him.
He's like
his wife is so distraught,
but it's gonna work. He got a head, some lungs, and one hand.
One hand. Way more survived. I saw the footage. They replayed it for a third of the movie.
Yeah.
There was more body left than that.
Yeah. So the problem with Alex Murphy, him and his partner were undercover and they were trying to expose this like gun running thing.
Yeah.
But the other two detectives were sabotaging them because they're dirty cops. So his partner got like shot and sent to the hospital. The dirty cops plant a bomb on his car. Alex Murphy gets blown up. Not anywhere near as violent as you can replay that explosion a million times. It will not have the effect.
Which they do.
Yeah. Very PG-13 way of killing someone. So
they don't even show his charred body. Like Star Wars showed charred bodies.
Yeah.
Same rating. Anyway.
I'm sorry. I'm not the MPAA, okay? So the wife signs over the stuff to save him. Yeah. He gets built in, I think he's in like China where they're doing it.
Yeah, which is like another reveal.
Yeah. Yeah, so he basically becomes RoboCop, and they're
3 months later with a really shitty dream sequence scene to kind of fool you. I'm like, come on, movie.
And they're like fucking with his head,
stupid.
Making him think he's not in control.
Messing with his dreams and stuff.
I will say the stuff with his family, him trying to reconnect with his family, that's what I would have liked to have seen in RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
If they committed to it. Instead, they just had the wife show up and disappear and never do anything ever again.
Exactly.
So that aspect is cool. Now, when they first showed the image of RoboCop, like the behind the scenes, I went, what the fuck is that?
Oh, because of the
I'm like,
beautiful color scheme, you mean?
The black. I'm like, why are you making him look like Batman?
And the red slanted visor, which more continuity issues with that visor, and I will bring them up.
Okay. It looks really bad. His main suit in the film looks terrible.
I don't think it's terrible. Well, it's okay. It's terrible compared to the black suit.
No. Yeah, no. The black suit is the one I'm bitching about. That is his main suit.
I thought you meant like the
black
the gray with like that wasn't so bad.
I'll get back to that. Yeah. So the black suit, those pictures made it to the internet. I'm like, that looks awful. And that's the one in all the advertising. And then I see the movie and I see the gray suit and it actually doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't look bad.
It looks what I think a modern RoboCop at that time would have looked like. And I'm like, wait.
The CGI was good on that. Like, it looked half decent.
So they had a good suit. And they switched it with the shit black one to look like Batman. I'm like,
I guarantee like an actual producer Even though they just made it as Sellers, like the character was like, "Oh, we
Yeah.
gotta upgrade it, make it more
And that's like
streamlined," and it's like that is exactly what a producer off camera
That is
said.
like a wink and a
Like,
nod. That feels like a wink and a nod to Michael Keaton. Like, make it black because his bat suit was black. I get it, but so it was real frustrating to see. Like, they had a good suit that I actually like, and they got rid of it.
Yep. Yeah, that's not that's
Ah!
10 minutes of screen time with the good suit.
Oh my god. I hate the black suit. I hate it. It just looks awful. He doesn't look like RoboCop. He looks like fucking Snake Eyes from the G.I. Joe movie.
That I literally have in here like, in my notes. I'm just like, hey, remember that scene with the G.I. Joe suit? Because this is the same.
Or just any ninja, like cyber ninja. It just looks
felt like
so...
like a Terminator kind of feeling.
Yeah.
It was.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's not. It's not good. I agree.
And his acting's not good in this. He ends up being a better actor later on.
At least his face looks not like
but even then
it doesn't look repulsive, kind of like in the second
even then
and
they don't have
third,
the skin wrapped over the thing.
I prefer the not skin wrap.
Really?
Yeah, I prefer the. I mean, it does look a little silly. It looked like he was just wearing a helmet. But after like a little bit, I'm like, okay, I can. This is more appealing to me because they have a lot more with him, just his face. You know what I mean? I feel like they hide it in the other ones because of costs and prosthetics. But
what was the point? Well, that's another thing. So if you're gonna rip off Iron Man, make him look more like Iron Man, I guess, than Batman.
Yeah.
But they are doing the Iron Man thing where the head's finally coming off.
They're even talking to like Jay Baruchel's just like, oh, the kids love when he transforms. They love when he transforms.
Okay, yeah. So they have a couple nods to the original. They have the guy going, I wouldn't buy that for $1. But then they show. They're like, oh yeah, this one tested really well, and it's the original RoboCop design,
and it looks. I'm just like, use that.
But then they're like, it transforms. The kids love it, and like they even the whole thing are like, nah, they don't know what they want. I'm like, no, I want that.
We all want that.
Although it is the original RoboCop look, but they made it look a little stupider.
A little bit. Well, so I feel like they made the head.
So
look
if
bigger.
you hadn't seen RoboCop in a while, and you're watching this remake, you're like, oh, is that what he looked like in the original? That looks stupid. It's like, nah, they dumbed it up a little bit. It didn't look quite that clunky in the other movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, can you name a single memorable action thing from this film? Like an action sequence that really stood out to you?
It stood out because it underperformed, and that was the night vision scene where he uses his night vision and all the bad guys turn the lights out because they just wanted to be at a disadvantage for some reason.
I guess so, yeah.
They're just like, hey guys, I know he can see in the dark and we can't. So
Well,
let's all put goggles on and turn the lights off.
They knew that, but yeah.
Okay, good point. They might not have known that, but like, how stupid.
Well,
are
still,
you?
then you'd all be in the dark and you'd all probably shoot each other.
That's what it just. Yeah. I knew the reason it impacted me is because like within that time frame, the movie Sicario, amazing movie, great cinematography.
I need to see it. I need to see it.
Amazing cinematography. They like invented a special camera to do night vision scenes.
Yeah,
like right around this time frame.
And
so then when I saw this, I was just like, what is this garbage?
I'm trying to think. Okay,
like it was an unnecessary night vision scene that didn't get executed as well as I think that they wanted to make just this cool action scene in the dark. It's like, no.
I'm thinking of like memorable. Okay, RoboCop 2. The opening where he saves the hostage, the baby hostage.
Yeah.
With the ricochet. Good. When RoboCop 2 like attacks his old crew. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The final fight, as cartoony as it is, it's memorable.
Yes.
RoboCop 3. I like when RoboCop takes the Pimpmobile.
The pimp, yeah.
And it like keeps getting more and more destroyed, where it's just him like driving basically nothing.
And it turns into a convertible.
That was fun. The ninja fight, kind of fun. There's
the ninja
nothing
There's
fun about RoboCop 2014. Like, that's memorable. Like, I can't remember shit. And I just you watched me watch this.
Yeah, this is my first time watching this as well. I just watched it yesterday. And
then they saved like this really big action scene with the motorcycle and stuff at the end.
Yeah.
And it's CGI garbage. Like it's on par with how bad the stop motion was in 2. And how
the Ed 209 fight, like the logistics of how fast RoboCop moved was just like physically impossible movements. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the momentum behind it. Because think like in Pacific Rim. Now, Guillermo
Yeah.
did an amazing job.
Yeah.
He knew like, all right, robots are big. It takes a minute to like punch.
Yeah.
So there's going to be weight behind it. It's not going to be like instant.
Yeah.
And in this, he's just zip, 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 zip. He's just like, he's moving around.
And the problem
I'm
is,
taking
like-
these good movies that happen around the same time, and RoboCop just ignores all the good
problem
examples.
Because he's still walking really clunky. So when he switches to the CGI that can jump real far, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like the same thing.
It doesn't. And it has like the premium rush vision where you can see his trajectory.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that movie with
Yeah. I
Joseph
did.
Gordon, the bike movie.
Yeah.
Why is this movie taking from the bike movie? Come on.
That I didn't mind so much the readout, like predicting where he's going to jump.
Yeah, but
even like the Ed 209. So again, remake. We got to go bigger and better. It'll be more Ed 209s. It'll be even bigger.
I thought the Ed 209s were done proper this time. They looked intimidating. They
looked
looked like
okay.
they would mess you up. Well, they
But,
looked
like-
more intimidating than the previous ones.
No, I like the previous ones. They look cool.
They're not
Their
intimidating.
head looks like a microphone.
But they're
I like
not
it.
intimidating.
But like in the first one, that was kind of fun because RoboCop was at a disadvantage. He didn't
Yeah.
have his weapons.
Stairs.
He was hurt. Yeah, he had to figure out a clever way. This one, he's just like, I'm just gonna shoot it a lot until it falls down,
Action scene.
and then I'm gonna run away. And I'm like,
CGI action fight.
yeah, and I'm gonna be a CGI cartoon in between. I'm like, this
Mm-hmm.
sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
And that just brought on more of the visor inconsistencies. I don't know if you noticed, but during this,
well, I know it
whole
like
movie,
breaks at one point.
So he doesn't. It's not his eyes. His
Yeah.
eyes are like one of them. I think got messed up from the explosion, or
Yes.
whatever, and one of them's normal. But
Yeah,
only when his visor is down does he like see these target matches and such, and like it actually targets people.
Huh.
But
Well, he was
but
definitely scanning
But but he's scanning people visor up or down.
yeah. They
Later
don't make
on
that.
in the movie, there's not like is the visor what's because they plug him in and they give him all the database stuff
Yeah,
on the visor. Later in the movie, he can do that without the visor.
well, in the original one, it wasn't like the visor. The visor was just to protect.
Yeah, it
them.
was just like a helmet. But in this one, like
Yeah.
they're trying to make it very specific. The visor version is very different than the
Yeah.
normal version. Because
Also,
the visor
it's like-
version's a robot.
It
and
is
he takes
annoying
the
when
visor
it
off,
was
he's
like
normal human.
it was cracked, and then it
Yeah.
shows his POV, but then the
And
POV
it's
isn't all cracked.
and
Yeah,
it's the inconsistencies of the visor kind of
Yeah.
upset me a little bit. But
And-
I'm me, and those things annoy me.
yeah. And like I said with the other two films, the OCP, the corporation stuff, is more. I'm much more invested in it. So like,
Yeah.
I actually got this time watching. I'm like, wow, Gary Oldman's doing a good job here, and
Yeah.
I hope he like shows his boss what's up. And I'm like, oh, Michael Keaton's trying to do this and whatnot. I'm like, I got invested in just the inner workings of the corporation.
Yeah.
And every time RoboCop came on, I'm like, get out of here. You're not RoboCop. Where's Peter Weller? And also, okay, like I know he's a bad guy, Michael Keaton, but he never feels like the bad guy. And then at the end, he just is the bad
It just
guy.
feels like corporate greed.
Feels like normal shitty corporate guy, but like there's not like I know the plan is to get the bill passed so he can put more robot cops on the street.
So he can be richer than
So he can be
already.
richer, but I'm just like, okay, I mean, there's some ethical stuff with that, but that doesn't really seem like a bad guy. Like in the original, they're trying to tear down Detroit
Yeah,
and move
they're
people from their homes
innocents.
to make a new city and kick all the old people out, but also have new crime in the new city.
Mm-hmm.
So like shitty things are gonna happen. But like this one, I'm like, all right, I guess we're gonna have robot cops. I mean, that'll suck, but I guess it was just
Sounds like Ultrons all around the world.
yeah. He just never feels like the bad guy, and then he just is at the end.
Well, it's because he has to be, because it's like, oh, this goes all the way up to the top. Oh, how high does it go? Oh, I wonder. Maybe the
Yeah, and
the
that's
top.
just a coincidence because like RoboCop solves his murder,
yeah.
which freaks them out because like the chief of police was involved with it, and they're like, wait a minute.
And that's when they shut him down for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
plot's
They're like,
sake.
wait a
It's
minute.
just like,
Politicians aren't going to like that. We have to put some limits on them. But then they're like, what if he starts investigating you? Just what you're doing, Michael Keaton? He's like, uh-oh. Not like he
Kill
was
him.
involved with this killing.
he instantly goes to kill him.
yeah.
though.
Well,
It just-
later on, because he thinks he has his wife and kid hostage. It's a mess. It's doesn't feel like RoboCop, and when it's
not.
its own superhero origin thing, it's very bland and it doesn't stand out enough.
I was It held my attention better than RoboCop 3. I can tell you that. Like RoboCop 3, I found myself having to, all right, Tom, pay attention. Yes, RoboCop is still injured. Okay, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
That I'm supposed to give a shit about.
They all have their issues.
At least like the pacing in the 2014 one was at least a little more like, okay, all right, this happens, that's the reaction.
Yeah.
This happens, that's the reaction. Action film. Okay. Explosions, bullet. Okay,
It's
what
like,
comes it's formula.
all the sympathetic characters are like nothing. Like I like Michael K. Williams, but him as Lewis, kept forgetting he was in the movie.
He didn't
The wife
do anything.
The wife was hot. But like the wife and kid, that's the interesting moments. That's like one of the new elements.
The humanizing him.
Yeah,
trying to go
but
for
then
the
they're
humanized
just
versus
kind of
robot.
sprinkled in. She just looks angry for most of the movie.
Well, she only can play a one-dimensional character, which is I'm nothing with them. It's bad script writing.
Yeah, and then it just kind of ends.
I have a problem with the ending a little bit.
Oh, my problem with the ending, the whole helipad, that is the most blue screen thing I've ever seen.
Like, and then they jammed the "Dead or Alive, You're Coming with Me" line.
Oh God!
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Also,
Dude,
do you want to do the gritty inner city stuff from Dark Knight? Or do you want to do the hologram sci-fi stuff from the MCU? They couldn't decide which one to go in on.
They couldn't. Well, everyone's phones were the touch
Because it's in the
see-through.
future. It's 2020 something.
So everything is see-through
Yeah.
digital screen because that's
Yeah.
every future movie now.
Yes.
Ever since Iron Man.
Yeah, all the holograms and shit. I'm
Everything
like,
has to be a hologram since Iron Man.
I'm so tired of
I'm not
hologram.
upset because I love Iron Man, the movie, but
Well, I hated in Prometheus, which is like set before the first Alien movie, and there were holograms everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck is a hologram?
yeah, technology was it's like just like in Star Wars, you know, the technology back when
Oh,
the Jedi
God.
was good, and then suddenly technology shit.
So I don't hate it as much as I did the first time. I'm just indifferent to it now. I forgot it existed.
Yeah.
Much like before this episode, I forgot Roadhouse existed. Now I'm just at a point where I just forget them. It's gonna be a long time before a remake really like horrifies me. And
Like Murphy Brown.
I will say, you know what? One remake
What?
that was recent that really like made me angry. The Mean Girls musical remake.
Oh, I did not.
Really bad.
Is it still Tina Fey though?
Yeah, she's there.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Some of
Well,
the
if
actors,
it's not good, I mean that's unfortunate.
some of the actors come back as the
Does
same
Amy Poehler?
characters, but it's not a sequel. It is a remake just with songs. But the songs are bad. And they ruin the story. It's a mess. It's a mess. Like that remake, the remake of Mean Girls upset me more than the remake of Roadhouse, and now this. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm getting angry at the remake of Mean Girls.
Wow, all right.
I've spent 10 years hating the RoboCop remake.
Okay.
I got it out of my system. Mean Girls, it's going to be another 10 years before I get that out of my system. That was a really bad remake.
God. Yeah, no, I didn't. I enjoyed the ride, but I wanted the ride to be much more violent and much more satire
Yeah.
because I enjoyed that so much
You
in the
get rid
first
of
and
the-
second movie. And
You get rid of the
then-
violence and the satire, and you get rid of a lot of what makes RoboCop RoboCop.
Oh, the satire's half of RoboCop.
As
in my
much as,
opinion.
like,
just making fun of the extremes of the
Yeah.
conglomerates.
As
and-
much as these production companies and stuff want to make RoboCop a family-friendly superhero for the kids, like he's not that. They watch the
he
first
never
movie.
is or
He's not
was.
that.
No, he's not meant to be that.
No.
Never was.
Anyway, we've come to the end.
We have. It's a shame we had to end it that way. Yeah, there's
Tom?
there's better ways we could have ended it, you know.
I think I already know, but what is the worst RoboCop movie?
For me, it's RoboCop 3.
And a lot of people would agree with you. But I think that's because they forgot the remake exists.
You might be right.
It might be one of those. Just
Most people forget that movie happened after seeing.
Let's test out another Paul Verhoeven remake that came out around the same time. Okay? Let's see if you remember it.
All right.
What was your favorite thing Colin Farrell did in the Total Recall remake?
Oh yeah.
What
I
did you think
forgot.
of Bryan Cranston as the bad guy in the Total Recall remake?
So the information you just gave me is actually all the information I know about that movie. Is because I knew that those actors were in it. That's how much I knew about that movie.
Were you upset that the remake didn't have him go to Mars like in the original?
It's a little I mean, that's kind of like,
Again, there were a lot of forgettable remakes around that time.
it's a good. I don't really remember.
I
that
think that's
much
why,
about
like,
it.
afterwards they went all in on the what was it? The soft reboots that are like in continuity with
the
the originals.
reimaginings.
Yeah. Or I'm thinking more like Jurassic World Force Awakens. We're like, this is
Okay.
a sequel, but it's kind of like we're starting over, but we're not ignoring everything.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, requel or soft reboot is what they're called.
Oh, okay.
Because people got annoyed with just straight up remakes.
Yeah, well, remake, reimagining.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to remake a Paul Vera. I think Total Recall was also PG-13. Like guys, do you know?
Like, that's who goes, like, are the 13-year-olds that go to the movie theater, is that really, that's their moneymaker?
I don't know.
Like, it has to be if they continue.
But I'm even thinking like the Terminator movies, they went PG-13.
Yeah, and those are the bad ones.
Yeah. Anyway, mine is still the remake.
Yeah, really. You worse
again,
than RoboCop 3.
I can see how there was a good idea in 2 and 3. There are parts of it that when they work really well for me.
Okay.
And when they don't, it's not the end of the world. The remake doesn't work for me on any level. Even some of the good ideas that I liked in it, like him with his family and stuff, I'm like, I would have liked that in a proper sequel.
Yeah.
Not this movie, because I don't care about this particular RoboCop or his family.
Because it's not Peter Weller, right?
It's not Peter Weller, and also Alex Murphy is such a dick in this before he died. I don't know what it is. The way he's acting, he's like, "Hey man, you a cop?" I'm like, "What is he doing? That's not. What is he doing?"
He's building character.
And also when his visor's up, his face looks stupid.
I agree. It does.
I don't like it.
It's just less unsettling.
And his suit's bad.
Than the skin flaps.
And the CGI is bad at the end. Again, that helipad. I'm wondering.
The helipad was so anticlimactic.
And that feels like they wouldn't have had to do that much green screen at the time. Like, could they have not gotten a real rooftop? This seems like a big enough movie where they could have got a real big rooftop. Or I'm just like, was this like a last minute rewrite or reshoot or something? Because
I wonder.
It
honestly.
stands out. Like the effects for the remake aren't too terrible. When RoboCop is doing ninja shit,
yeah,
your brain checks out because you know he wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
But like for the most part,
because he weighs like 2 tons.
Yeah, but the drones that he's shooting are fine. Even the beginning where his suit is obviously they paint over it digitally, but when he's acting like a normal dude, not doing backflips, it works.
Yeah.
But the ending, the effects just take a sharp drop.
Oh, yeah. The whole Ed 209 fight.
Yeah.
Like, even though I think Ed 209 looks decent.
Yeah.
RoboCop looks
And even at the end where they put him back in the gray suit, that looks really bad. Like that looks unfinished. So I'm wondering if things got changed at the end.
Maybe. I mean, like, well, budgets.
It's also a
change,
lackluster
you know
ending.
I mean?
He just kind of shoots Michael Keaton. And
well,
Keaton
it's like
falls
he
down.
has a red bracelet, and he's like, "You can't shoot me. I have a red bracelet." And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna try harder." And then he shoots him because willpower. Similar to family is all you need to win the battle
also,
against
did they
evil.
establish the red bracelet thing earlier in the movie?
They did in the first scene. Just in the
totally
first
forgot.
scene, when not the Samuel Jackson scene, but when they're when they're overseas. They tell the reporter, they're like, "Listen, reporter, you're a red contact. We've never lost a red contact in the field."
They had to remind. I totally forgot about
They
that.
jammed it down your throat the first 30 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, but then like a bunch of shit happens, you forget.
Yeah, well, they don't bring it up until the last 30 seconds of the
More
movie.
fun in the original one. It was a mystery.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait to see what is that objective for.
It makes you wonder, what if someone just dressed up like a cop in the first 3 movies?
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
that could have actually cut similar to the kid messing him up in the second
Well, no,
movie.
it wasn't cops. It was specifically OCP members. So.
Well, could I just buy a
no, I think he has like the employees. on his head.
Okay, that makes because otherwise.
But that was fun. They established it in the middle, and then the whole movie, the rest of the movie, you're like, well, how's he going to get Dick Jones if he can't do that? Like, how does he do that? Like that was in this one. It's like I have a wristband. It's like, how's he going to get out of this? It's like, oh, he'll just love his son a little bit more and
he loves him
shoot him
so much. The power of dad.
Yeah, I don't like RoboCop 2014. I'm mad. I've now seen it twice in my life.
I don't blame. I'm not gonna watch it again.
And I
watched it the one time. That's enough.
I hope I never watch it again. I hope I never watch it again.
I'm not going to make you watch it.
Fun fact, before this came out, me and Anthony, we wanted to,
Yeah.
because I reviewed this when it came out on a very older version of Hack the Movies. You were
Okay.
on that.
I
Terminator
remember.
Genesis.
Yeah, Terminator Genesis. And we did Wolverine.
I Frankenstein.
I Frankenstein. We did the Wolverine movie.
Did a lot of those.
Some good ones.
Some of them didn't survive the blip purge, unfortunately.
It happens.
I backed everything up from like blip, but then it all got corrupted. Anyway, I specifically didn't watch a single trailer for this. And I remember I was at the movie theaters with a girl and the RoboCop trailer started and I went, I'll leave. I'll be right back. I don't want to see a frame of this. I went in super blind other than seeing pictures.
Yeah.
And I that didn't help.
Still got disappointed.
I still got disappointed.
That's a shame.
I try, yeah. Not that I was ever gonna like it anyway.
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
know.
thinking like with the Roadhouse movie, I'm like, this was almost a good movie. You fucked up on the action, but it was almost a good movie. This RoboCop remake, I'm like, nah. This was almost a mediocre, forgettable superhero film, and you didn't even get there.
I just watched it and I already forget.
Yeah.
Half of it. It's not memorable.
But you know what you haven't forgot? To like, share, and subscribe. Check out our other videos.
Yes.
Why, if you enjoyed this, if this is your first time watching, definitely check out the What is the Worst Terminator movie. That one's a lot of fun. Go back and watch our review for the first RoboCop.
Yeah.
We love that movie. Check out my review of the game, Rogue City. You're gonna want to check out this game. It's
I'm definitely gonna be borrowing.
It's got a lot of replayability too.
I'm gonna borrow that from you at some point.
Yeah, because you can, like I said, there's some like pick and choose sort of thing elements.
Nice.
Yeah, so check out those. Tom, where can I find you?
You can find me at crithitpro.com or on my Instagram, talltom1989.
Okay. So check out those and
or on my Instagram, which is also Critical Hit Productions LLC.
I was gonna say I thought that was the one you wanted me to promote.
Yeah, it is. I was just
just both.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Follow both of them.
Yeah, no, really the Critical Hit Productions, because with me you get a critical hit every time.
Get the.
I just made that up.
That also could be a bad thing. I'm like, oh, I got hit critically. Oh no.
I can't work anymore now.
I hired this guy and I got shot in the abdomen. I was hit critically.
It was pretty critical.
No, Tom is great. I've used him before for stuff. And I've always been satisfied.
I always love working with Tom.
Like I said, he helped shoot the RoboCop AVGN episode.
I did.
If you liked that episode, he did it. All right, goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.